So now it is time for our main presenter, a special guest, Vanessa Garcia. And Vanessa is coming to us all the way from Washington State, right, Vanessa?
Yep. Yeah.
But she didn't start out in Washington State. She's actually a local lady, originally from the area here. So Vanessa is a marketing strategist. She has over 15 years of experience in traditional digital and social media marketing. Her specialty is creating marketing strategies for local businesses by helping them create data-driven decisions, set business goals by diving into their analytics and examine local market trends. So she's really tying the marketing to data, which is really great. Vanessa grew up locally in Prunedale.
Yep.
She holds a BA from UCLA. Now, what high school did you go to, Vanessa?
I went to North County in Castroville.
North County. Mm-hmm. And you went from North County to UCLA?
Well, I went to community college first.
Yeah. And then
from
UCLA.
there. Yeah. And then from there, I went to UCLA. Yeah.
That's great. I expect they are very proud of you at North County.
Yeah, for sure.
Going to UCLA for undergrad. And then she has a master's from San Jose State University. She's worked with small businesses and global corporations to develop marketing strategies to increase sales conversion and brand awareness. So welcome. Thank you for joining us this evening. And I'll let you share your screen and your wisdom both.
Thanks. Awesome. Thanks for allowing me to come here and talk a little bit about some of the things that you can include in creating your own local marketing plans for your businesses. So let me know when you can.
We're there.
See my screen.
All good.
You guys can see it. Okay, cool. All right. I'm just gonna move a few things around over here. Okay, yeah. So you did a really great introduction for me, Brad. You did it a little bit better than I would have done for myself. But basically, yeah, today just, kind of want to talk about, what some of the things you can do to create your own local marketing plan. And we're going to go over basically a case study from a place that I used to work for a couple of years, IKEA, up in East Palo Alto. So I'm just going to dart through a few of my slides. So basically today's objective is just to kind of give you a brief overview of, what the marketing strategy planning process, looks like. I'm going to give you some examples for strategy, what some of those examples look like in terms of advertising, so that by the end of the session, you have a better understanding of how you can plan, build, and refine your own local marketing plan. So when we think of marketing plans, what exactly is a local marketing strategy and why do you need one, right? And IKEA is a really great example of why you would need one. Basically, from a local level, you want to have a really good understanding of who it is that is living in your local market area, right? Who those customers are, where they're living geographically, how they're living, and especially how you can reach them through digital marketing, and also how you can offer great offers and services by understanding their wants, needs, and pain points. So IKEA case study, right? Again, why does a global corporation need a local marketing plan? Well, one of the things that we found when I was at the store working there was it's such a large company, it's such a large organization that you really have to specialize in some of the more local marketing aspects to have a better understanding of how you can reach your customers and which areas geographically you can reach them, right? So quick overview of the IKEA East Palo Alto store in the Bay Area. It's a very large store, right? Its primary market area is in San Mateo and Santa Clara counties. And it's the only store within those two counties, right? So coming from a global organization, yes, they do spend, a large amount of, marketing dollars on, commercials, print advertisements, things like that. But every store in each market is going to operate differently depending on the people who live in that market, right? So number one thing you have to understand is who's in your market, what are their wants, what are their needs, who are they, and how can you understand them to better serve them, right? So the first thing to really do in this process is do some data and do some research, right? And market research is one of the foundations of marketing. You have to understand your audience before you can create the best advertisement and the best message for them, right? So for this particular store, our first step was, taking a look at what's happening outside of the market externally, right? What do some of those external trends look like? And who lives there? How are they consuming media? How are they shopping? And then most importantly, how are they living, right? So what we did in our analysis was we just kind of took a look at who's living there, right? Okay, Silicon Valley, they have, a higher household income, a lower unemployment rate, as we all know, a very competitive housing market, right? Even though there's a higher average household income in that market, it's still a very expensive place to live, right? So people are looking for affordability in that area. In terms of the housing market, as a home furnishings company, you really want to know how people are living in their homes and how they're using their homes and what that housing market looks like, right? So just taking a look at some of the data in the Silicon Valley, we really found that there was a shortage of single family homes that were being built, right? A lot of the homes were built in, the 70s, 80s, and 90s, which meant a lot of them had some outdated kitchens in that area, right? Which we'll see popping up later as another area of opportunity. There was also a decline in the birth rate, right? So people were having children either later in life or just not choosing to have them at all. So we were seeing a growth of the over 50 or empty nester population. When you look at the customers who were basically our bread and butter, who we were always marketing to, it was basically the demographic who had families living with children. So a growing population of that empty nester group really served as an opportunity to figure out what their wants and some of what their needs were to kind of better serve them. We also found that, when you're looking at the demographics, it's a very ethnically diverse area, lots of Asians, lots of Latinos that live in that area. When you look at how they're living at home, there was a lot of multi-generational living, right? So as people are living multi-generationally in those houses, how can we reflect those living situations in the store, especially by room sets, right? If you're having, grandma and grandpa living with you, or you're always having, cousins over, big family events, how can we reflect those situations at home inside of our store so that, once we had customers coming in, we could say, hey, the customers can say, hey, they know us, right? That's a solution that I need in my house. I need that too. Another demographic, we served was the college community. Lots of universities, in Silicon Valley, lots of people coming in to go to college and lots of people leaving to go to college. In terms of competition for home furnishings, lots of competition, right? Basically, the number one reason we really needed to do a local marketing plan was because we were the only store in San Mateo and Santa Clara counties, right? So when you look at the competition and say people are shopping at, Target or JCPenney or Bed Bath & Beyond, it's a lot easier to access those stores than it is for someone to go to IKEA, right? There's not an IKEA around every corner that you can just kind of, go to. So we really had our work, cut out for us in terms of how we were able to penetrate, the market even better and, grab a bigger piece of the market share pie. The next part in kind of, figuring out our local marketing plan was taking a look at our internal situation, right? This is one of the most important aspects of your marketing plan that you really want to focus on. So a lot of basics look at, what are your sales? What are your margins? What are your sales, by department? Do you have any internal customer surveys that you do that you can look at? You really want to understand where you are with your KPIs so that you can figure out, where you want to be and set yourself up in creating realistic goals that are going to help you move the needle, right? So some of the things we looked at was, okay, we had, a little bit of a slow sales growth. We had really healthy margins, especially in kitchens, but we had low brand awareness, especially in kitchens, right? So that turned up to be another area of opportunity. We had a low quality reputation. Just looking at some of our relationships with, with vendors and understanding, our customers' lives at home a lot more. Understanding, okay, how can we create a better awareness with some of these products and services that we offer, right? When we looked at kitchens, we're like, okay, we have really healthy margins. It's a high ticket offer, right? When you're looking at, a $10,000 or $20,000 kitchen versus maybe a $200 bed, right? Which one do you want to sell, right? You want to sell the kitchen, right? Or at least we did. It took us a while to kind of figure that out. But once we started really looking at the data, we found that there was a really great opportunity to kind of capitalize on that, right? Other things that we looked at was customer surveys. We did a lot of internal surveys that some of it was basic demographic information, right, of who our customers are. We had a very good understanding of our customer persona. They had names, right? They had, there was a whole profile of, who these shoppers were and what their hopes and dreams were, and, what they hope their home, looked like. That really helped us set us up for success in terms of, how we could better serve them. So when we looked at some of the surveys, we found that we did have some issues with our quality perception, especially in terms of, assembly services, relationships with our vendors when it came to, delivery times, and especially relationship with our kitchen contractor in terms of, making sure they were able to deliver those projects on time. We also took a look at our online reputation, right? Your online reputation is so important because it's really, it's one of the first places that people go to before they actually step foot in your store or before they even decide to purchase something from you, right? They want to know what kind of experience they're going to get when they go there. And it's going to set up some expectations that they have, right? And depending on what your online reputation looks like, those expectations are either going to be really high or they're going to be really low. So you're also going to, figure out any issues that you might have with your staff. And so some of the things that we found in our online reviews was we had some issues with helpful, friendly, and knowledgeable staff, right? So for us internally, we figured out that, we needed to do some more, we need to do a lot of work with our staff in terms of training them, right? And making sure that they had all the tools that they need to better serve our customers. And the same thing with our kitchen vendors, right? They just need some more training and communication from us is what it came down to at the end of the day. And we really wouldn't have known that information if we didn't check out some of those online reviews. We also had an assembly service. And so we were getting a lot of negative reviews online from some of the assemblers. Well, some of the assemblers were actually from a third-party service called TaskRabbit, which had nothing to do with IKEA. Turned out people in Silicon Valley don't have a lot of time on their hands. They're busy. They want more of a white glove service. They're going to pay a little bit more to have someone do it for them to save time. But because there was some scheduling issues with assembly, it was faster to just, get on your phone and hire a TaskRabbit, have them come over and assemble something for you. But because, those individuals weren't, trained through IKEA to properly assemble, certain items, some quality and durability issues came up with those. Eventually, we looked into that a little bit more, and IKEA ended up actually buying TaskRabbit. So now you can get a TaskRabbit to assemble your furniture, but they will be IKEA trained. And a large part of that was due to the branding perception of IKEA having products that maybe aren't the best durable because they were improperly assembled, right? Other things that we looked at was how people live at home, right? So we actually did some home visits to see, well, how are people actually living in our market, right? We did some research on paper that basically told us, okay, people had some outdated homes, but are they really, redoing them? Are they really redoing some of those kitchens? What does that actually look like, right? So we asked some of our customers, hey, can we visit your home? We'll give you a gift card. So we did, a few rounds of those. And what we found was, yeah, we were really able to, to see that some of their kitchens were a little bit more dated. Some of their hopes and dreams for having a kitchen was, having specific colors, having really great durability, having someone who's just going to come in and take care of it for them, and having something that's going to meet, all of their needs, really. Another thing that we found was more multi-generational households, right? So we were able to see, how people were living with grandma and grandpa in the house, mom and dad and their kids as well. Another thing that we found was garages, right? Garage storage organization isn't something that you always see in stores, but the garage it's part of the home, right? But it's often ignored in some stores. It's just a big place where you put all your stuff if you're not putting your car there, right? So we were able to also find that we can offer a solution with that, right? So what does that look like? So basically, how can we reflect their needs in their homes in the store by creating specific room sets for those individuals, right? So when they come to the store, our goal was to, create solutions for people who need to store stuff in their garage, right? So when you're going to come visit the store, you'll see certain shelving, certain storage units, so that when you walk by that, it serves as inspiration and you can stop and say, hey, I have a lot of stuff that needs to go in those bins. That's a problem that I have, and that's a solution that they're offering for me. That's something that I need. I'm going to get that, right? And the same thing with the multi-generational households as well. So some of that looked like, for us, it was as simple as, offering more sofa beds, right? In some of the room sets. And instead of having them, all the way pushed in the back corner somewhere, just moving them to, to the front of the store and having them in more prominent positions in the store so that customers can pull them out, see them, see what that looks like, and then just also offering more storage solutions for small space living as well. And then, of course, in speaking to them, of course, they communicated again that they just wanted more done for you services and more inspiration, in the store in terms of, room sets with what their style of home furnishings was, right? So really doing a lot of that internal research is one part of it is, figuring out what your numbers are, where your opportunities for growth are, right? Our opportunity for growth was in kitchens because it had a high ticket offer, had really healthy margins, and looking into the demographics of the area, we found that the empty nester demographic, they had a more of a disposable income than the demographic of families living with children, right? And when we looked at the housing market in the area, we found that there were lots of houses who needed a new kitchen, right? So it really took us a while in realizing this research of, hey, maybe we shouldn't spend all of our marketing dollars on living rooms and bedrooms for the demographic of living with children. What if we shifted our focus towards selling more kitchens, right? And targeting that towards the over 50 and empty nester demographic, right? What would that look like for us? So that's basically what we did, right? We kind of looked to see what our opportunities were and basically created a plan on how we can, shift our marketing dollars away from focusing on what we were comfortable with all those years, on what we were just really just used to doing, right? So once we figured out, all of our data and everything like that, then it came down to, okay, what are some of the goals that we want to create for us, for the store, right? So our focus was selling more kitchens, to the empty nesters, creating more of an awareness, right, that we had kitchens. Some of our internal surveys also showed the awareness of our competitors. When we started doing this, we were at number 3 in terms of top of mind awareness behind Home Depot and Lowe's, right? Because nobody really, there just wasn't a high awareness of kitchens, right? When you think of IKEA, you might not think that that's going to be the destination where you're going to purchase your kitchen because you go to IKEA to purchase furniture, right? So you might not think I'm going to go there and get a kitchen. I'm going to assemble it, myself, what? But no, we actually have these really great services where, you can meet with an IKEA kitchen planner and they will plan your kitchen and help you design it. Our contractor would also go to your home and measure the kitchen for you and install it, right? So all these services, for you, and then really emphasizing the quality and the durability, the style and functionality of the kitchens as well. So those were some of the messages that we wanted to include in our marketing plan. Another thing, we really wanted to emphasize was working a little bit better with our back to college segment. And that was something else that we, really needed to learn as well. What we found was there was already really high awareness of the back to college segment in the store. We were just kind of off with our timing in terms of when people were coming into the store and the types of solutions we were offering them, right? We did customer surveys a couple times a year targeted just towards the college segment and just ask them, what are you buying, right? Like, what are you here shopping for? Do you see any solutions that inspire you? What would you like to see more of in the store? So it just really came down to asking them what they wanted, right? And what they were here to buy. So it came down to really just, having more solutions for some of the small space living and not focusing so much on, okay, back to college, you're going to live in a dorm, right? a lot of students who are going to university, well, after, maybe the first or second year, they're going to go and they're going to move into an apartment that they're going to share with other people, right? So what we really needed to do was reflect apartment living, right? At a price point that college students could afford. So we basically had to redo some of the room sets in the store to really reflect those types of solutions. And the same thing with, the lack of small space and multi-generational living rooms, right? That was pretty much, like I had mentioned before, including a better awareness of, room sets that have like sofa beds, doing things with small space solutions, and just including more of those room sets that offer those inspirational elements that serve basically as examples, right? So that, again, that family can come into the store with some solutions that they already have in mind, right? That brought them to the store, see the room set, see the inspiration, and go, hey, that's something that I need, right? That's a problem that I have at home, and here's a solution, right, that I need. Maybe we need a fold-out bed for when all the cousins are coming over and hanging out, or we need something like this for when my mom and dad come visit, type of thing. So how we were able to do this was basically creating goals for each of these areas. Again, with the main focus on the kitchens segment, right? So once we understood that we did want to sell more kitchens, the next step was figuring out geographically where are we going to, market this and sell this to. And especially when you're looking at such a large area like the Silicon Valley, which includes San Mateo and Santa Clara counties, how do you figure out where to spend your marketing dollars, right? So what we were able to do is just basically do a lot of geo-targeting, whether that be Facebook ads, pay-per-click into certain zip codes that we basically decided that we wanted to target our marketing efforts towards. So when it comes down to actually putting all of this on paper, right, and creating your digital marketing strategy, what does this look like, right? So our overall strategies, this is just one example for kitchens, right? Obviously we had each section, for multi-generational living, another section for college, but our main emphasis was kitchens. We decided to basically allocate 80% of our marketing budget on kitchens, right? And the other 20% went to other areas. So our strategy here, after going through all of these exercises, taking a look at all of this data, right? Strategy: grow store sales by focusing on kitchen offers and brand awareness. Creating SMART goals. So we wanted to sell X amount of kitchens per week and increase kitchens brand awareness by, X amount of percent. Obviously, if you're going to have a goal towards brand awareness, you want to make sure that you are doing some kind of surveys that you can do, year after year or quarter after quarter to continue measuring that specific KPI. For us, we have the ability to do that and to, continuously measure that specific KPI, which is, why we came up with the numbers that we did for those specific goals. Once it came down to the tactics of, okay, what's going to be in our marketing mix, right? Sometimes we are so excited about some of the things that we want to push for our marketing efforts. We start with the tactics, right? And sort of forget about, or maybe ignore, like the strategy and the SMART goals and everything like that. But the tactics are there to really support your strategy and your goals. So our tactics here were to, one, we were going to partner with a local news station to create kitchen commercials and mobile placements. So we just had a kitchen remodel, and we were able to hire a local Bay Area influencer person, and they came in and they shot a few segments of a kitchen commercial. We ran it on TV. We also ran it online, had mobile placements for it. We did geo-targeted Facebook ads and pay-per-click ads. We had specific timing of when we wanted to do those specific advertisements. We also did email marketing, right? We decided to do at least 2 per month year round, right? So even though there were certain times of the year that we were going to do paid advertising for, say, a kitchen sale, we still wanted to make sure that we were staying on top of our brand awareness by always doing email marketing and by always doing social media, and by making sure that a certain percentage of our posts included those kitchens messaging, right? So what did that look like? So basically, these are a few examples of some of the marketing that we did during that time for the kitchens, right? So our overall objective was to increase sales, brand awareness, and market penetration among the empty nesters, families, and college demographic, right? So again, like I said before, we decided to spend 80% of our budget on kitchens and then 20%, on everything else. So what you're looking at here is a few examples of how all of that data and how all of that research culminated into these examples of basically these marketing advertisements that we did for kitchens. So if you look at the one down here, for our Twitter feed, we decided, okay, we want to include a certain percentage of kitchens messages in our social media, right? So that included some of the things that we talked about before, which was the style of the kitchens, right? And what we found in speaking with our customers was everybody was really interested in either like all white kitchens or kind of like that cherry brown type of kitchen. So those were the 2 main kitchens that we wanted to feature in our advertisements. We also wanted to feature affordability, right? So we would do more paid advertising during a specific kitchen sale or a kitchen event. And we would also talk about our services as well. So this one says, get a free in-home visit and detailed kitchen plan, right? Another one has like some of the drawers are soft close and open drawers, which kind of speak to the functionality of the kitchen. These are a few screenshots of the commercial that we did. We did 2 15-second spots and 1 30-second spot. So here you can see the kind of like that cherry brown type of kitchen. We also included a message for a 25-year limited warranty. Eventually, the kitchens got a JD Power and Associates award. So we made sure to include that logo on every piece of marketing material that we did for kitchens. In terms of style and functionality, talked about, the soft close drawers. And me personally, I really like these drawers because you don't have to kind of like crouch down and, dig through your kitchen island, trying to, look for your pots and pans and stuff like that. And then we really wanted to highlight services as well, right? So this one says, you can do it all yourself, but you don't have to, right? So we also wanted to speak to some of that white glove service that we offered that we just had kind of a low awareness of because we weren't really talking about it, right? So that included the kitchen measuring, the planning, and the installation. And then also a few mobile spots as well for our paid advertisements. Basically, anytime we had a sale is when we would throw more of our marketing dollars into that. So what did this look like, right? What did this result in? So basically, what we did here was we were able to increase our kitchen sales to about 130%, which was huge for us, right? We went from kind of ignoring it, not really focusing it, to really growing that specific department of the store. When we measured our brand awareness, we went from the number 3 spot to actually tying at number 1 with Home Depot for brand awareness. In terms of our marketing investment, we spent about $100,000 a year in in marketing for the store. And it took about 3 years to see solid results. So when you're thinking of some of the goals that you want to create for your own business, just be aware that, it takes consumers a few times to see something before it kind of sticks in their mind, right? Which is why we wanted to do advertising year round. We didn't want to do advertising just when we had a sale, right? We wanted to make sure that we were always doing advertising for this specific department so that we can move our awareness to the top. That was our goal, right? Was to have the #1 spot in terms of brand awareness for kitchens. And because kitchens has a greater, has a healthier margin, right? It also helped increase store sales. And if we did not take the time to really put together that market analysis and figure out who lives in the market, what are their wants and needs, what does the housing market look like, and what do the demographics look like of that area, we would not have been able to grow sales in the way that we did, especially because, that over 50 demographic, it was ignored, right? That was not our bread and butter, because that was just our mindset, right? We didn't take the time to kind of go into the details and look at those demographics and have the data basically tell us a story. So once you kind of dig into your data, it's really going to tell you what to do, right? Your next step is, once the data tells you what to do, is just taking a look at your own marketing budget and your own bandwidth, right? Some things don't, always take money to do, right? Social media, for example, you can either do it internally in-house, or, you could hire someone to do that as well. So if you're curious of what this whole process looked like, this was our planning process, right? Step 1, take a look at the external market and trends. What's going on? Who's living there? How are they living? Number 2, take a look at the internal situation in your own KPIs to get a really good understanding of where you are, so that you can get to step number 3, which is figuring out where you want to be and creating your goals, right? And all your goals are basically going to end up on your business plan and your marketing plan. And just remember that any kind of initiatives you do, just make sure that at the end of the day, they all support the goals that you have on your marketing plan and your business plan. That's about it. That's all I have. So do you guys have any questions on, how to kind of approach this process, or how to do something like this on your own?
One of the questions I had was, how were you able to access their homes? But you did talk about that.
How was I able to assess their homes?
To gain access to their homes. But
Okay.
Then you mentioned that you offered them some incentives.
Yeah, so that's a really great question. So we did it 2 ways. One way, which was kind of the easy way, was we actually spoke with some of our staff. Internally, the store has like interior designers and merchandisers, right? So they're the ones that are really building the room sets and everything like that. So we just asked them, like, hey, do you have any friends and family who might allow us to go into their homes and do a home visit? And then we were able to give them a gift card that way. And then we put something up on our website and also sent some emails out to our database as well. And then had them, fill out like a survey of, what their situation was, like where they lived and stuff like that. And then from there kind of, determined who we could visit.
That's very clever.
Yeah. That's a great question.
I have a question. Hi, Vanessa. Thank you. That was really good. We primarily have one product. We do a sweet potato pie in 4 different flavors. And I guess my question is what does a marketing plan look like when you have one product? And because I kind of have the demographic information. Like when I look at our sales, we tend to have a higher end. When you talk about like people who buy from us tend to have a higher income.
Mhm.
And so, and we've talked about that, of how to market to others, how to market specifically, like we do a lot of events and things like that. So we talked about marketing specifically to those zip codes, but just, can you speak about how to market for if you only have one product?
Yeah, so that's not as hard as it is when you have, multiple products. It's also really great if you just have, one specific product that you're focusing on, because you're not having other things that are kind of eating away at your brand awareness to be known for that one thing, right? So really what you would want to do, like with your branding and your marketing, is just setting yourself up as, we're the people who has, the best pies, right? And then again, understanding your demographic and some of these situations that they're going to be in to need those pies that you have, right? Whether it be for certain services, certain events, certain celebrations, right? Understanding how they live and how they celebrate and how they interact with food, to kind of create those opportunities to keep you top of mind and think about you when they're thinking of, okay, what do I want for desserts, right? I'm going to have a party, I'm going to have a baby shower, I'm going to have a wedding, corporate event, whatever that situation, those situations are, that your customers are purchasing those for. So I would say figure out the events that they're purchasing them for, and then kind of go from there.
Okay.
Thank you. I have a follow-up question if you don't mind. The other question is, we do a sweet potato pie, which a lot of times is thought of as seasonal, right? Most people think about sweet potato pie during the holidays. So how do we rev up off-season, what we consider off-season marketing, to try to get people to buy a sweet potato pie when they typically wouldn't be thinking about buying one?
Yeah, that's a really great question too. I would say, stick to your marketing year round, and you can even play off some of those messages as, maybe it's like, say we're in July right now. You can even play with certain messages. Hey, are you craving, are you craving some of that, pumpkin spice? Are you craving, some of those holiday treats? Well, you don't have to wait once a year to get this. You can get it anytime you want, type of thing. So I would say, you can even play off some of those messages that might seem like a crutch for you, because they are reminders to people of like, oh yeah, they do have that all the time. I don't have to wait, for those holidays to get that. And then just stay consistent with some of the marketing that you do, in terms of like some of the foundational and baseline stuff, which would be like your email marketing and your social media marketing as well. You can also include, like if you're active on Instagram, you can even do different polls to ask your customers questions like, hey, what types of flavors of pies that you like. You don't have to do a complicated survey through SurveyMonkey or a third-party company or something like that. You can just directly connect with your audience and ask them polls on Instagram, or even create short surveys in like a Google form and email those out as well. But I would say just stay consistent with your marketing online. And sometimes it might not seem like you're going to get a return right away, but you really have to play the long game when it comes to staying top of mind with your awareness.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
I have a question about social media. So one of the things I'm struggling with is what type of social media do my audience, my customer base use? How do you make that decision? Because I have a demographic. So my company deals with skincare for any sort of problem skin, but we're focusing on the elderly. So from 35, well, not really elderly, right? But 35 and up.
Okay.
And the reason is that we're thinking, when will they start worrying about wrinkles and stuff like that, right? So 35 and up. So if you look at social media, when I started creating my products, social media was mainly Facebook, okay?
Mhm.
And now Instagram and even TikTok. I was laughing at TikTok, and 2 days ago, I spent the whole night setting up an account and posting some videos there, but so I'm wondering I don't want to really stretch things out too far because we don't really have the bandwidth.
Mhm.
So how do I determine what social media groups, the audience I'm looking for? So my target audience is
Yeah.
people making 100,000 and up and 35 years and up.
Okay. Yeah, that's a really great question. Number one thing is you don't need to be on all of the social media platforms, right? Like they're all out there, but you don't need to be on all of them. Just pick like one or two. The number one thing you want to find out is what platform does your audience prefer, right? So to get a solid answer, I don't know if you have an email list or anything like that, but that's something that you would want to do would be, send them an email. You can maybe do something type of like a nurture campaign or an introduction. Hey, this is my business. I want to learn how to serve you best. What's your favorite social media? Like, what do you use, the most? And you can do that in like a quick little survey through Google form. The other one I would prefer, especially for that demographic, would be Instagram. Just because you can get better reach on Instagram than you can with Facebook business pages right now. Right now, Facebook business pages, the engagement and the reach is much lower. If you do have a Facebook business page, I would still suggest asking that question on there anyway. Like it's not going to hurt, but with Instagram right now, they're doing a really big focus on video, and especially with Reels, right? Reels get much farther reach and engagement than static posts. If you don't want to be on camera, you don't have to be on camera. You don't have to do any, funny dances or anything like that. There's, other ways to kind of, to get around that. But I would say Instagram is definitely one to get on right now. And if you are on TikTok, like if you do like that yourself, you can also share those videos on Instagram as well. So I would say like my gut feeling for you would be Instagram. But before you make that decision, just to ask your audience to confirm some of those hunches.
Yeah. So the problem with, and I don't want to be like I'm the person throwing water on the thing, because
Yeah,
we're just starting off, and the thing is, I don't really have a large list of customers right now. I have
that's
below.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone starts from zero. Every business has started from 0 followers. So yeah, Instagram's a good one to kind of build right now, because you could do different you could do stories, static posts, reels, IGTVs. You could connect with other local business owners as well and do like a Q&A session. And then also use local hashtags as well so that you could be found locally.
Yeah, we just started with those.
Mhm.
Great advice. Thank you.
Yeah.
Why did you have to move to Washington State? Where is it you are, Washington?
Yeah. Well, the great thing is we're all connected online, right? I can't hear you.
I mistakenly turned off my mic. I was saying that I still prefer the face-to-face, that kind of person, I just like the human contact. So when
Yeah.
you're watching, I'm thinking, oh, she's so far away. It's my brain thinking that way.
For sure. Anyone else have any questions?
Any other questions out there? That's excellent. Thank you, Vanessa. That was great. Nice concrete examples, great advice for folks on getting started. And that initial start is challenging when you're not known in the marketplace at all, and you've got to get known. and gradually build the trust and relationship with folks in the marketplace. That can take a while. Have you got any brief words of wisdom for those who are, as you said, starting from zero?
Yeah, I would say, just keep moving forward, like just keep moving forward with, what some of those things are that you're working on. Look at the big picture, but take it step by step so that you don't overwhelm yourself, right? It's kind of like you have to learn how to, crawl before you can run, right? When we're all starting, like we want to run, we want to get there, but you have to crawl first. And sometimes some of that crawling is starting with the foundational pieces and doing a lot of those research and data-driven exercises so that you can come to those conclusions of, yeah, I'm going to spend 80% of my budget on this department that I have been ignoring. And then a couple of years down the line, you can grow sales from that. I do have some freebies and some goodies to give you guys as well. There is a link in the chat where you can get a free workbook on how to create your own local marketing strategy. I have some tips on different types of marketing tactics that you can use for your own plan. And another workbook on how you can utilize Google to get more exposure for your business as well. So yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
I do have one more question.
Yep.
I'm sorry. Number of posts. That's always, I always feel like we're either posting too much or not posting enough. Is there a rule? Is there a guidance to how often you post, where you post to?
Yeah. I mean, yes and no, right? It depends on the platform. What platforms are you on right now?
Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
Okay. Twitter, you can post a lot on Twitter. You can't post too much on Twitter because it's such a fast revolving timeline, right? So if you post one time a day, your tweet might not get seen, right? If you post 5 times a day, that's fine as well. What would the other one? Did you say Facebook?
Facebook, we are on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Okay.
Instagram is what I like the most. One, because it's easier for me. It's the easiest to kind of use and manage. I can throw up pictures, throw up videos. It also seems to be right now where most of our customers are going. We seem to be getting feedback from them. But it's just, I never know. I'm always confused about how much to post and then what to post. So
yeah. So personally, I don't think you can post too much on Instagram, especially for stories. If you're posting multiple stories every day, that's perfect, right? Because you're going to stay on the top of that feed. And that's going to help with your awareness as well. And people are always kind of like, scrolling through it, and it disappears for 24 hours. So if you're doing like 5 stories, every day, that's definitely not too much, right? And the same thing with the posts. Anything between, like 3 to 5 times a week is good for static posts. And then for reels, anything between maybe, I would say, like 3 to 5 again for reels. If you really like Instagram, I would say test out some of your reels and then go back and look at your analytics and see how your reels perform compared to your stories and your static posts. And you might be surprised that you'll get better reach from the reels than your other posts.
So when you say reels, those are the videos, the IGTV?
Yeah, so the reels are basically like, it's Instagram's version of copying TikTok, right? So that's the ones where you see people dancing or pointing, right? So you can even just do a quick little video of some music and then you're pointing to 5 tips to prevent wrinkles by the age of 40, right? 5 ways I can help you stay younger. Things like that.
So are those the IGTVs?
No, the IGTV ones are mainly without music, and that's basically, that would be like us having a talk, right? Well, not us having a talk, but you recording yourself and talking about, say, the importance of skincare and certain vitamins you could take and having a discussion with your audience.
Mhm.
One thing I've seen people do who have both TikTok and Instagram, there's this guy that I follow. He makes a TikTok video and then he shares it to the Reels.
Mhm.
And so if you want to do the video, you can just kill two platforms with one post.
Yep.
Yeah. So I've discovered, even if I've only been on TikTok for 2 days, I've discovered it's really easy to make the videos on TikTok. It's very easy to, how do you say it, edit them and make it the way you want.
Mhm.
And if you don't like it, you can just download it back and do it again and put it back on. So
Yeah.
the reels looks like, are they the circle ones, the circular ones? Or those stories?
Those are the stories. The circular ones at the top, those are the stories.
Can I share my screen for a minute?
Sure.
So I can, I
The
really,
reels will show up as a post within your feed.
uh-huh. Okay, let me share. So this is my Instagram page.
Mhm.
So I have one of these videos here, and I have, to tell you the truth, I don't even know how they got there. I'm still kind of learning everything, you know. So, and then I posted this. These are the stories, correct?
Yeah, the top, those are the highlights of your stories. Yep.
Okay. So again, like I'm still learning how to do them. So tell me again about the reels.
Okay, I'm gonna show you an example. I'm gonna pop my phone up real quick. Okay, let me share my screen real quick.
Okay. I think I stopped sharing.
I can find where my mouse is. Okay.
And don't get me wrong, I know how to look things up on Google. But it's just, I have to just learn so much, you know.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way. I always have to have an example. Otherwise, I'm not sure. Okay, can you see my screen? Can you see my Instagram?
Mhm.
Yeah, okay. So as you can see, I'm very horrible at my own stories. But this is a highlight of one of the stories up here, right? If you're doing a reel, you're gonna have your posts, your reels, your IGTV, anything that you're saved in, and then anything that's tagged. Anytime you do a reel, it's going to show up in your post feed right here, right? So all of these are static posts that I did, and then these two are reels. But it's also going to show up, they're also going to show up over here in this separate section, right? So the only time you're going to have something that's going to show up in the circle is when it's a story. But if it's a reel, it's going to be in the static feed of your profile.
Interesting.
Does that answer your question?
Well, yeah, but I don't see the reels on my page, you know. So is that because I haven't posted any reels yet?
Probably.
I don't want to take up too much time. People might have it.
It's okay.
I'll just have to study it better. Thank you.
Yeah, so if you look at my phone, if you go to your profile and you click this cross button right there, you're gonna have some options of what to post. It's gonna say post, story, reels.
Oh, okay. I don't
And then
have
you just press the button that says reels, and then you get going.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, just play around with it, and then you'll figure out what you like, what you don't like.
I think one of the reasons I haven't really caught up yet is because I've been doing a lot of Facebook, using the business suite, you know, to post both on Facebook and Instagram at the same time. So I don't do a lot on my phone. But
Yeah.
it's like the phone has more functionality for Instagram at least.
Yeah.
Very good. Excellent. Thank you, Vanessa. All right,
Thank you so much.
that was great.
Yeah, and thank you for the freebie. I love it.